So today I'm going to install this ClearView liquid glass technology screen protector for a Note 9. Just received it from Amazon. If you hear bubbling in the background, that's because I'm using a steamer, which I'll bring over here. I have a fixed camera here, so you can just see from this above view. And the steamer anyway is just to knock down dust. I don't have a clean room. I don't think most of us have clean rooms in our homes. And the last thing we want to do is get dust trapped underneath the glass when you apply the Loca. Just once you do that, there's no turning back. And the dust will definitely show up depending on what it is, lint. So we're just prepping right now. I'm humidifying the room to knock down dust, any excess dust. It is the winter here in the Northeast, so it's even more so because of the dry heat, so you're going to get a lot more dust. This is a tough time of year to do it. So if you have a steamer or a humidifier, even a cool mist humidifier, I'd recommend you use it in the room first before applying it if you're a perfectionist like me. So just so you know, this is the first time I'm doing this. I've worked with Loca in the past, years ago though, when I fixed a couple of phones, and those videos are posted. But this is the first time I'm using it for a glass screensaver. So the first unboxing of this bag full of some cloths. Looks like a squeegee of sorts. Thank you for our purchase, and of course the installation instructions. There is a video that they highly recommend you watch. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to watch their video, their installation instructions, and then I'm going to make a go at it. So just unboxing it, it looks like the UV light here is at the very bottom. It's USB based, so I'm going to find a USB device I can plug that into, a charger sorts. Here's the UV device, and so there's our legs. And of course, once the phone is there, you can slide it over to cure the light once, of course, this is turned on. So I'll leave these legs deployed. This looks like the jig that they give you, so the phone, obviously, the screen goes on straight, and then of course it looks like the little vial of Loca glue. So not much to spare here. This looks like a one-time shot. So if you get it wrong, you get it wrong. So again, even here you can see this little something like that gets caught under the screen. And so again, we're just steaming. Alright, so I'm going to watch their installation video, and then I'm going to come back and proceed. I'd recommend you watch it as well, and I'll post a link in this video. Be right back. Okay, so we're ready to get started. The phone is now turned off. That's important that you do turn the phone off. You can see that we have this stickers. This is a speaker sticker. They have masking tape. A lot of them say speaker sticker, but they're also made for the mics. You can cover, of course, the S Pen port, etc. So we're going to start off, this is the Note 9, and we're going to start off by using the wet wipe. You want to ensure all the fingerprints obviously are removed, and anything else, water spots, etc. And I know I'm doing the back of the phone besides the screen because I really want to cut down on dust. If I go out of the camera, that's just because it's in a fixed position. I'm not a professional photographer. Okay, so that's our initial clean. I'm just going to wipe it. And yes, I'm going to get fingerprints on it again, but what we're going to do now is use the speaker stickers. And again, this is all provided in their installation video. of course, on their website, or on the product site, I should say. So we're going to cover, we're going to cover the speaker or mic first. And I think I kind of went into the screen area a little bit. So let's take it back and let's redo that. We want to go in the black area. We don't want to go anywhere into where it goes into the actual screen viewing area. So be careful not to overlap too much. Okay. As shown in the official installation video, he covers the microphone jack, okay, we're going to cover the S Pen port and the other speaker with the masking tape, but they're all the same. We're also going to cover the volume buttons, all the side buttons. They supply ample amount of stickers to do that. Because if some does ooze over, right, you don't want it going inside. Okay. I'm going to do that again. You can see I haven't been trained. This is my first shot at it, so just be patient. We'll see how it goes. If I'm successful, great. If I'm not, then, well, it was a learning experience. Now, the issue I'm having right now is getting the sticker to stick over the button. I'm not sure why that's happening. I certainly don't want to go on the screen. I'm just going to go a tiny bit on it. Let's see if I can get it to stick. So I'm putting these stickers over the side buttons. You really got to make sure you're right on the edge of the glass, otherwise it'll pop up. So I've managed to do that. Really got to get it just on the glass. And then really push it on before you fold it over. Hopefully you can see that so it doesn't bubble up. Alright, I have one last to cover the power button. Of course, I hope I don't power the phone on. We don't want to do that. So again, right on the edge. And I'm going to use my fingernail and just really crease it and then fold it over. Not too hard. You don't want to fold it over tight and folding it over loose. I found if I did it tight, it pops it off. See, this one's already popped off, which is pretty frustrating. And I don't know if that's because the alcohol, I had maybe some alcohol on there, and that, of course, loosened the adhesive. So just kind of rubbing it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put it in their, I guess what they would call their jig. So they have these two notches on this side, and that's considered the top. Also, that's where their this notch tool slides in that keeps the screensaver from sitting down. So we're going to turn it over, and we're going to place the phone in. Actually, the way he shows you to do it is like this, and then you just take it this way. Okay, so there you go. So now it's pushed all the way in. Okay. Now what I want to do is we're going to take these absorption pads that they give. So I guess that's for excess, obviously, Loca. And you want to push that in between the phone or wedge them in. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling a tray on the side and I'm really making sure I'm getting them in there to absorb any of the Loca that may ooze out. After this step, we're going to clean the screen again. So you can see it's kind of a tedious process, but when you deal with screensaver after screensaver with the glass screensavers, I'm saying, and they continue to lift off because of the ineffective adhesive they use, and then touch issues, etc. Okay, so now my absorption pads are in. Maybe a little too much, so I'm going to push it down out of the way. I'm going to then take the second clean wipe, and as instructed by their, again, video, is to make sure I get all of the dust off. Now I did wedge in the absorption pads probably a little too far, so there is some lint from the absorption pads. You could see it, maybe not. So what I'm doing is I am making sure I push it back down a tad bit. Okay. And this isn't a quick process, and I figured I'd give you a real time so you could just see before you go ahead and jump in. I believe the end process will be worth it. Okay, so now we're going to use their dust absorber for a final dust lift, right? I'm just going to take any of those micro particles of dust that we could not get off. I'm going to make sure I hit the edges. So we're just continuing to make sure we get the dust off. I just put a little bit more water in my steamer because of, again, dry environment, baseboard here, heat here in the Northeast, and that's a recipe for a lot of dust. I'm just going to go over it one more time with a wet protector just to make sure I've gotten all my fingerprints removed. And this isn't in the official video after the dust, of course, but I want to make absolute sure, and I wasn't completely sure, that I removed all of my fingerprints. So we'll just do this just to make absolute sure. And of course there's a tiny bit of lint in this cleaning cloth that we'll have to clean. And so as I go through this repetitively, I have some dust here on the edges that we're going to I find again is the lint absorption might be a little too far in, so I'm going to take it and pull it out a little bit. And I I know the instructions were for me to put that in there to absorb, so I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to wedge it in, but I think I had it too far forward, so make sure you don't make that mistake. Too far forward. And you could see, you know, even a little tiny piece of hair, whether that's an eyelash or what have you, but it's there. While I'm doing that, I'm going to pull this out and get this ready. Because as you all know, once this starts, it goes pretty fast, right? Okay. Now the next step is to get the Loca. Now the Loca vial is here. What we're going to do is we're going to take the installation they call it a wedge. It's the glass wedge. Installation pin, I think, is what they call it actually. Okay, now we're going to take the Loca. Now, I've already pre-cut the tip. Okay, you do have to cut it with a scissors, and it's already cut. And when you turn it over, nothing comes out, so you have to turn the back, and the back allows air to come in. And then the adhesive is going to start coming out. And so my desk here isn't necessarily 100% level, so it's going to want to go to one side, and you have to be careful of that. You don't want it to work its way all the way off the edge, so it's a slow process. So as that's moving, okay, and I'm going to take this repair card and put it under just to try to level it out, and so it is. And then what we're going to want to do is try to move it down to the center. You can work it. It's workable right now. Now I see a tiny bit of dust, and I'm going to grab it. Last minute, but I got it. Okay, installation pin is in place. So we got it kind of towards what he shows on the installation video is the Loca's right across these two. Now when I pull this film off, you do not want to touch the bottom, right? So I'm going to pull this off. We're going to put the bottom first. And allow it to touch the top installation pin. Now, as shown in their video, it's supposed to touch the Loca. Mine has not touched. So I'm not sure what's gone wrong. I'm going to turn this installation pin and do a 180, and maybe it's lower on one side. I know I have the phone all the way in. I'm a little bit confused as to why it hasn't touched, so let's take a look. I'm just going to let it sit for a second. And there it is. Now I'm going to remove the installation pin. I do see some Loca leaking out, and that's exactly why we have I'm not going to slide this underneath so I don't make a mess on my mouse pad, which I'm using in case it leaks through. And I could just see it, Loca making its way to the edges. I want to be careful. I just moved it with my hand. Absolutely do not press. Now, I've seen that it has distributed the whole way. So now we're going to start to cure. And the first is going to be for 15 seconds on the top. We're going to go 15. And I'm just going to do a rough 15. 15. It might be quicker than 15, I don't know, a little slower. "15 seconds. So this is our temporary cure. Okay, now that we've cured it, temporary cured it, we remove the installation tray. So carefully, we're going to push the phone down and out of the tray. Okay. We're going to go back to the UV light. For 45 seconds, we're going to cure the top first. Now, he had said in the installation video that it could take up to 4 minutes for the Loca to distribute. I didn't notice that. It distributed pretty quickly. And as I'm looking at the screen, it's the screen's protector. It's pretty even, so the jig, if you want to call it that, did its job pretty well. I do see some oozing on the side. That's going to be easily taken off by using a little alcohol in your finger. Now the light is on a timer. I don't know if that's 45 seconds. I'm going to time it right now. There was somebody who reviewed this early, was a verified purchase, and said that this that the tray was garbage. I didn't find that at all true. You could see that this pad did in fact do its job in absorbing some on the side. This 45-second timer, by the way. This one absorbed some as well. Hopefully you can see this. The cameras, you're able to see. You can see some of the absorption here. This one absorbed a little bit as well. So this reviewer, who was a verified purchaser, had said that this was garbage. I didn't think it was garbage at all. I mean, for half the cost of a Whitestone, I think they sell for $60. I think this is a bargain at half the cost at 50% off. You know, everyone makes installations easy looking. You know, if they've done it over and over again, of course you're gonna, you know, you want to sell a product, you want to make it look easy. I wouldn't say on average this is for the faint of heart, but if you take your time, you watch the instructional video that they provide over and over again, take your time going through it, you know, dry run. I actually did, prior to videoing this, I did like 2 dry runs just to make sure I had it down in my head, the steps. It's all about following steps. So I think it's great. I think it's a great product for $29.99, and hats off to the seller. I'm just making sure I absolutely cure this. Usually UV light, Loca cures very quickly, but 45, 45, I'm gonna go one more on the top. We're gonna take the stickers off. We're gonna clear off the little bit of Loca that oozed out. And I think that's why, listen, when you first apply the Loca, in his official video, he applied it more here towards the top. Prior to placing the glass down, he moved it more to the center, and I know why he did that, and that was because if any did ooze out, which they do expect a little bit to ooze out, they want these little pads, these little absorbent pads to absorb it, obviously, so it doesn't get all over the place. And it did its job. It did its job. The jig or tray does have these little bumps that come out. Everything is held in its place. I had nothing oozing over the speaker, even though the protective sticker was there just in case. You never want to press down. All right, so obviously you want the Loca to provide a little shock absorption. You press down, you're going to ooze out all over the place. Let the weight of the glass itself distribute the Loca. Do not press on it. That's a big mistake I think a lot of people make. All right, so that's plenty of UV light. I'm going to peel these stickers off. You're getting a first-hand look at this. I have none at the buttons here, thankfully. Maybe a little bit here. Now, what's on the sides really didn't get hit with the UV light. So there's a good chance that that's still wet. And so now I'm going to wipe it. I go to this side and I'm going to wipe it. Loca can be a little bit messy. Now there is some oozing. And you can see, if you just take your finger and ride it up, Loca can become sort of like, just like when you're taking the adhesive off the back of a sticker. It can be a little messy. But I can't tell you none got in the buttons, which is great. That was one of the things I feared. I had a friend actually use a Whitestone on his Note 8, and then I don't know if he pressed down on it or what, but he got a lot of Loca down by his speaker and S Pen port. He wasn't too happy, obviously, to say the least. But it takes a steady hand, right? I'm just cleaning the edges here. I'm going to open this up. It's probably a little contaminated now that I got some Loca from the sides on it. The only thing I would say, and this goes for Whitestone too, is the fact that the top is exposed. And I think part of that is the fact that they don't want to cover up the proximity sensors. The speaker would make for difficult. The S10's a little, the S9 Plus is a little bit different, but this is a little exposed. So if you do get hit here, there is a chance that it could crack. But most, I think, I think these phones are most vulnerable on the edges. I really wish Samsung would just go back with flat screen and do away with the edge, but that's my opinion. Overall, this is great. I'm not pausing anything, coming back. I'm not speeding the video up. I'll show you exactly what it takes to get a finished product here. Just peel these off. Probably finish it up by using a little Windex. I'm going to peel these off. There's absolutely no Loca here on the bottom. Before, when I was doing the speaker, using the stickers to go over the buttons, you could see here, and I hope you can, there's still a good amount of room here. So don't worry about getting, I'd say you have at least 2 to maybe 3 millimeters max. I would say 2 to put the sticker over the button. But again, if you follow the instructions that they post at the official install, and maybe mine will help a little bit, make sure the Loca starts off at the center so it can ooze out, and these absorption pads will absorb the little bit, and it's only a little bit that oozes out. Again, don't press down on the glass, and then you shouldn't have a problem. I'm still kind of taking out the side here, and just using my finger, and you could see, again, just like adhesive from a sticker. I'm sure that'll all work out. And I may just run one more cure on it. One more curing run. So let's do that. Let's run one more curing run. Just to make sure it's absolutely cured 100%. And I think so far it's really turned out to be great. Sorry it's not zoomed, but again, I think between my video here, my installation video, and the official installation video, which again can be found on the product page, I appreciated the seller putting that up. I think it was important. Gotta have it. Everybody can make it look easy or say it's easy until you, of course, do it yourself, and then you make a mess, and then it's $30 down the drain. Packaging was great, solid. Again, $29.99. You can't beat it. You really can't beat it. You know, I've used Whitestones in the past on other phones. They're just expensive. You know, it's tough. It's tough spending $60. And then, of course, if you screw up during the installation process, it can be very, very messy. So again, half the cost. I think it's a great buy. UV lamp has an internal timer, so you just press it, leave it, and let it go. Again, the first cure is a temp cure, as the official installation video says, and that's while it's still in the tray. So 15, he wants to do 15 on the top, 15 on the bottom, 15 in the middle. Then you gently pop it out. Now, when I popped it out, I still didn't press on the actual screen protector. I used my nails. And I pushed at the top and the bottom where the screen protector is not covering. I didn't want to push on the glass because it was only temporarily cured. So that's just one thing I did. And but yeah, so far it's turned out great. I'm going to give it one final cleaning, put my S Pen back in, and put it back in my clear case, and we should be good to go. So no more sensitivity issues, no more adhesive lifting up and then dust getting underneath. And in all honesty, I've had my Note now for probably, I got it in September. And I'm not kidding when I tell you I've used probably at least a half a dozen glass screen protectors. Not because they broke. One broke, and it did save the phone, thankfully, saved the screen. They've all failed with the adhesive lifting up and then dust or moisture getting underneath. So I'm still having to clean up the edge. And maybe when I post this up, the seller the seller could say something about it. It might be a fault of mine, I'm not sure. I'd like to see it a little bit cleaner. Eventually it'll come off. Okay, so that's it. Now I'm going to clean up. That's good enough for me for now. Get it nice and close so you can get an idea what it looks like. There you go. Looks just like the phone itself. Again, you have this little top here that's not protected. You can sort of see that, sort of see me. Alright, I'm just going to fire up the phone now for the first time. And there you go. Alright, hope you liked the video. I hope it helps folks. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment on Amazon, and I'll do my best to get back to you, okay? Thank you very much. Have a great day.